Right guys, Mike Crossfield here, and I've got the Titleist 716 iron range in my hand. So I'm going to hit all of the clubs. I've collected some real ball data as well using GC2 to show you how they differ or not through the whole range, and hopefully give you some ideas of which ones might help you with your game if you're thinking of getting a set of Titleist irons. Let's get stuck in. So, set of Titleist irons here. We're starting at the AP1, the most friendly of all the irons. It's got tungsten weight out in the toe, cavity back, lots of offset. Presents quite nicely down by the ball for what we would call a game improvement iron. It's got plenty of chunk on it, but it's certainly still got Titleist prettiness to it. Then we jump up to Titleist AP2. So it's a slimmed down version of AP1. Again, tungsten out in the toe. They're trying to make the MOI, so the forgiveness of these clubs, as high as they can, while delivering less offset, thinner top lines. A very classic looking club used by tour players. I know some tour players who use the AP1 as well. Then we jump up to the thinner version of the Titleist CB. So it's a very small cavity back, again getting tungsten weight out in the toe. This one has a fantastic bladed appearance from this end, next to no offset, thin top lines, but you still get that little bit of help, and obviously we're getting that tungsten weight. I would argue the CB has pushed itself in its forgiveness closer to the AP2 than it's ever been, so for players who want that look but forgiveness still in there, that one's maybe doing that. And then we jump all the way up to the MB, the muscle back, the classic looking blade, gorgeous looking, razor thin top line compared to the others, next to no offset. Beautiful, beautiful looking iron. So let's hit with the four irons to start us off and give you an idea of how they feel, and we'll show you some numbers that I got with them as well. So I'm just going to run through the club's kind of appearance and feel as I hit them. So AP1, plenty of ball down, or plenty of club down by the ball. You do get offset, which might put some golfers off. Hitting the club, it feels off the face very friendly. Certainly doesn't make the loudest sound in the world, which I like, and I think the Titleist fans will like. So even though it's a game improvement, it doesn't make that massive ting that some of these irons make. Let's give it one more hit. I'm not afraid of offset. You know, I've used clubs with offset. I like it. It doesn't put me off. Some people just can't look at it. Good fly. I feel this is easy for me to get the ball up in the air with. I think golfers who want a little bit of launch and as much friendliness they can get out of a Titleist iron, AP1 will do that. It's certainly got the nice big undercut cavity and the weighting. They're pulling the weight off the face basically, which is going to try and make the face more stable on those off-center hits. If we go to AP2, now this is where the set bunch up a lot more in the middle now. So AP2 and CB, I think, are starting to become very, very similar. AP2 is a thicker top line. CB has more of the bladed look. I just think in feel and numbers, it'll be interesting to see how close these two have got now. AP2 is a worldwide classic, has been for years and still is. Titleist kind of refine this club every year. They don't revamp it because it's just so tried and tested. Used by Jordan Spieth. I think he doesn't use 716. I think he actually went back to the older ones, but it's still very similar in its design. So this makes a very true sound, more of that forged feeling and sound off the face. So those things are almost the same, because you do start moving into a forged head with this one over AP2, which isn't. And it looks solid, while at the same time looks slender. Have to admit, and I don't think there's many people who wouldn't, that AP2 has just been such a classic iron for such a long time, and it's a great crossover. So you can get handicap golfers, beginners, and obviously you get the world's best using AP2, and I totally understand why. When I look down at it, it feels good, slightly truer sound than AP1, but AP1, like I say, isn't like loud and tingy. Right, if we go into CB, we're now looking pretty slender. You'd have to be quite confident in what you want to look at in an iron with this one. Looks great down by the ball. We lose all that offset off the face. Again, feels very similar to AP2. Hard to tell the difference. Again, this one is forged, so you're getting that forged sound and then in turn that feeling. I mean, I just think this club is going to appeal to, now it's got the tungsten weight in there, I do feel that little bit extra forgiveness in a club that looks this good really is going to appeal to a wide range of golfers. 15 handicappers down to obviously what as low as you can go. Let's give it one more hit. I could so easily game this. It's a beautiful looking iron and it does feel very, very solid off the face. Now if we go into the MB, so the true blade now, all forged, 716 MB, wow, it's butter knife thin. I mean, I use blades and this one is a smaller head. This is kind of very classic blade looking. You would have to be very confident in what you're presenting down by the ball with this one. Let's give it a hit. Oh, hit that wow, and then when you hit these wow, does anything feel better? It does just feel good. It looks as good as anything I've ever seen. It must be said. I do feel very Adam Scott with these, and that's not a problem, is it? He's a decent looking guy. Yeah, these are just classic, but I do think it's going to be a very kind of smaller niche market, which Titleist are going to know. It's a bladed club. Obviously Titleist very well connected to good players through amateur ranks up to pro. You know, it's a brand that lots of people really trust. So through the irons, they kind of all do what I expect them to do with their looks and their feel. I think the CB just slightly pushes towards AP2 more than it's ever done, which I quite like. Let's see if the numbers I got from all of these irons actually changed, how different they were, see how they could help you. Right, let's look at the numbers then presented. So I hit some real balls. I'm using actually chrome soft balls now. I've switched, so let's show you what my numbers are, which is why you see chrome. So AP1, 6 iron, each iron was a 6 iron. I'm carrying 165, peaking height around 29 yards, launching at 17 degrees, 6 iron spinning at 5,700 revs. That's quite a good spin rate for what is called a game improvement club. Often any extra distance you get out of game improvement clubs is coming from that spin dropping. So they launch up and they spin less, which just keeps them boring through the air. 5.7 on a 6 iron is very good for me. I'm not the highest spinner of the golf ball by a long way. Now if we go up to AP2, 162, so only 3 yards difference. Similar peak height, a fraction lower, but I peaked at 30. I just had a very low one, the 160 hit, 25 yards. So I just caught that one maybe a little out the bottom. Now, which is interesting, AP2, the spin actually came down on this test, which is going to be 3 shots, much more my strike moving. Now, I would expect AP2 to spin to go up, not to come down. But like I said, I think if I hit loads more shot, you might see, I would say those spin rates for those two are going to be very similar. 200 revs per minute in it at the most, I would guess. Launching pretty much the same. Peaking height, like I said, only 1 yard in it, and only 3 yards in difference. But peaking distance at 165 to 166 with AP1, only 1 yard in it. So, yeah, AP1, AP2 are very similar in what they're doing. So you're really dialing into that look. It's a fine tune. Now, if we go to the CB, 161, so a little bit shorter. Again, my top hit is 165. It's just my shortest hit drops down to 157. Maybe because that club's getting a little harder to hit. I have done tests on that, and that's very hard to actually measure compared to my strike, if you like. Peaking height at the same height, which is quite good, isn't it? I mean, that's a lower kind of, you know, better player's iron, if you like, but it's peaking height out at the same height. Launching at 18 degrees, the CB loft probably a little bit more lofted maybe than AP1 as well. But 161, again, only 4 yards in it, which can be really hard to see actually in a gaming environment over a series of shots. And my, like I say, my longest hit 165. And then we go to the MB, the true blade. I couldn't get it up to 165. Furthest hit was 161, averaging 158. So we're now 8 yards, 7 yards difference between MB to AP1. That's a club difference. Launching at 18, coming in slightly lower at 29 yards, spinning at 6,000. So the spins again, what I'd expect, it's been going a little bit higher with the MB. I mean, the biggest thing for me with this test is how close all 4 of those irons are. They are so close, which again makes me think for you guys, you know, go and test. Custom fitting is key for you guys to understand what you're presenting and what clubs might suit you. But lots of feel and looks on those is going to play a big factor because they're so different in their feels and looks. Very small differences in the numbers. Definitely tiny little steps between them, but I think Titleist would want that. That's why they produce 4 different clubs, to just gently move between the different categories of players. Let me know if this helps. Post comments down below. Titleist irons, you use them, you're thinking of using them, which one would you go for out of the 4? Definitely the bladed one for me looks the best, but I think AP1, it's just a solid kind of all-rounder, isn't it? Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope, all the normal social places. Also, come and visit my new website, markcrossfieldgolf.com. See you over there.